If you're a small YouTuber and one bad video makes you want to change your entire channel, stop. That reaction might be doing more damage than the bad video. A video gets 12 views, so you change the thumbnail. The next gets 9, so you change the topic. Then another struggles, so you decide your niche is dead. Then you try shorts, then long form, then a completely different style. And after a few months, you have changed so many things that you no longer know what actually works. That is the mistake I'm talking about. Not making bad videos. Resetting your strategy before you have enough evidence to understand why the video was bad. And there is a reason this is especially dangerous when your channel is small. You simply don't have much data yet. Imagine you upload a video and it gets 20 views. You might conclude nobody wants this. But what do you actually know? You know that one video got 20 views. You don't automatically know that the topic is bad. You don't know that your channel is dead. You don't know that YouTube is suppressing you, and you definitely don't know that you need an entirely new niche. YouTube itself describes recommendations in terms of whether viewers choose to watch, continue watching, and feel satisfied. It also says recommendations are personalized and that the system follows audience behavior rather than simply promoting channels. So the useful question is not, why does the algorithm hate my channel? It is, what did viewers actually do when this video was offered to them? That distinction matters, because a weak video can fail at several completely different points. Maybe the idea wasn't interesting enough. Maybe the title and thumbnail didn't make the value obvious. Maybe people clicked but left quickly because the opening didn't deliver what the package promised. Maybe the topic had limited demand. Maybe the video was fine, but the audience it reached simply wasn't the right audience. Those are different problems, and changing your entire channel because you don't know which one happened is like changing the engine of your car because the headlights stopped working. You're solving the wrong problem. Look at impressions and CTR, for example. A lot of small creators see a low CTR and immediately redesign the thumbnail. Sometimes that's correct, but YouTube specifically warns a CTR should not be viewed in isolation. CTR varies depending on the audience and traffic source, and it can change as a video reaches a broader audience. So a number without context can produce a completely wrong diagnosis. The same thing happens with impressions. You might see 50 impressions and think YouTube won't show my videos. But low impressions do not automatically prove some kind of channel punishment. YouTube says videos are competing against all the other content a viewer might watch, and topic interest, competition, and changes in viewer behavior can affect how many people see a video. That means the real problem may be much simpler. Your video lost the competition for that particular viewer. And that is useful information. The dangerous response is to turn that information into an identity crisis. My channel doesn't work. My niche is saturated. I need to start over. My subscribers ruined my channel. I've been shadow banned. Those conclusions feel satisfying because they explain everything, but they aren't supported by the evidence. And once you believe one of them, you start making decisions based on the story instead of the data. This is where small creators get trapped. They upload one video, it underperforms, they panic, they change something. The next video performs differently. Now they don't know whether the improvement came from the new topic, the new title, the thumbnail, the timing, the audience, or pure variation. Then another video fails, so they change something else. Eventually, every upload becomes a completely different experiment, and that's terrible for learning. If you change 5 variables at once, a successful result doesn't tell you what caused it. A failed result doesn't tell you what caused that either. You're generating noise. The better approach is much less exciting. Keep the core audience and general direction stable long enough to identify patterns. Then make deliberate changes. If the idea seems strong but people aren't clicking, test the packaging. If people click but leave immediately, investigate the opening. If viewers stay but the video doesn't generate much interest, question the topic, payoff, or audience fit.
If several videos around the same problem consistently outperform your normal baseline, pay attention. That is evidence, not proof. Evidence. YouTube's own analytics guidance encourages creators to examine the viewer journey through appeal, engagement, and satisfaction rather than obsessing over a single metric. That gives you a much better diagnostic process. First, did people choose the video? Second, once they chose it, did they actually watch? Third, Did the experience satisfy them enough to keep watching and potentially return? Those questions are far more useful than staring at your subscriber count and asking whether the algorithm has decided your channel deserves to grow. And here's the uncomfortable part. Sometimes your video really is bad. The title may be weak, the idea may be weak, the opening may be boring, the audience may not care, the thumbnail may communicate nothing. You don't need to protect yourself from that possibility. You need to identify it, because the opposite mistake is just as bad. Some creators refuse to change anything because they hear, just stay consistent. Consistency is not a strategy. Uploading the same kind of unwanted video 50 times is not discipline, it's repetition. The goal is not to never change. The goal is to change for a reason. One failed video should create a question, not a panic. Instead of saying my channel is dying, ask, what specifically failed? Was it the idea, the packaging, the opening, the audience, the delivery, the payoff, or simply the fact that there isn't enough evidence yet? That last possibility matters more than creators realize. YouTube says there is no universal ideal video length, and it recommends using your own audience retention data to understand where viewers leave and what holds their attention. In other words, your analytics are not a scoreboard telling you whether you are a good creator. They're diagnostic evidence. Treat them that way. And stop expecting every upload to prove that your entire channel is working. A small channel is supposed to have uncertainty. You're still discovering who responds to your ideas. You're still learning which problems your audience cares about. You're still learning which packaging gets attention. You're still learning which videos make people stay. That process requires repetition, not random repetition, controlled iteration. So if your last video got almost no views, don't immediately delete your strategy. Open the analytics, look at what actually happened, find the weakest part of the viewer journey, make one meaningful change, then test again. Because the mistake that can almost kill a small channel isn't necessarily uploading a terrible video. It's seeing one bad result, panicking, and destroying the experiment before you've learned anything from it. Your job isn't to make every video succeed. Your job is to make every video teach you something. Once you start doing that, a bad upload stops being a verdict. It becomes evidence. And evidence is how small channels eventually stop guessing.